He expressed that he will no longer be renewing his membership to the EFF.
The message I got from the moving of Mr. Shivambu from the EFF to the MK, the message I got was that there is something bigger coming.
The situation is starting to unravel, partly because it's a highly emotional situation. The situation is volatile. As you heard Mr. Malema's statement, the experience he had in that moment, receiving the news, obviously through this letter Mr. Shivambu wrote to him.
We have to acknowledge that Mr. Shivambu is he's quite a big political figure in this country. What I've identified for a long time is that is actually just basically a distraction from that is a distraction from what they don't want us to see.
Yeah.
And for him to make that move from being a founding member of the EFF to make a move as significant as that sends a big message to those who want us to stay ignorant. That what they stand for is they are going to fight for what they believe.
Yeah. Good day. Welcome to another episode of Wake Us Up in the Hood with your host Marshall from Soul Entrepreneur, and as you know, Julio from Wheatonians. Yeah, so today we will just reflect and share our analysis finally, because as you've seen, we haven't put in our 2 cents to respond to this situation of Mr. Floyd Shivambu now being detached from the EFF and has moved over to the MK party, right? And we see a scenario now playing out whereby your mainstream media, our good friends who like to control our reality, to persuade us with their narrative, you know, to control us so that we may experience an existence they want us to have, you know, where they are always in control and we are just the puppets where they are the masters. And as said, we will reflect on Mr. Shivambu now leaving the EFF for the MK, and myself with Julio, just before we decided now to do this episode, shared our opinions with each other and our perspectives, and we thought, well, this would make for a good episode. So we're gonna now share what we've discussed, just having a friend discussion, not anything constructive, right? So we are not here to tell you whatever we will say in this episode is that you must take it as truth and follow what we say. It's merely us just sharing our opinion, and so that we can engage in the comment section, you know. And once we are done in this interaction and exchange, then please like and share this video with as many of your friends, family, peers, so that we can get this type of discussion on the consciousness and awareness of all our people, so that those in mainstream media no longer have a control to control our focus and perception and where our attention should be, you know, so that we may always be focused internally, each one to his own, and focus on yourself, you know, so that you can control what reality you experience, right? So yeah, Julio, as we've seen now that what they are doing is, as the mainstream media is, instead of focusing on the core point that Mr. Shivambu is saying, that he is moving over from the EFF into the MK party, it's to further the cause of strengthening the progressive forces in this country, you know, to be a more, how can I say, a better opponent to the white monopoly capital that's ultimately controlling our experience here in South Africa. Yeah, so what is your take on that, seeing that the mainstream media is wanting us to focus now on it's Mr. Shivambu versus Mr. Malema, as opposed to white monopoly capital versus the progressive forces?
Yeah, what I see is, what I've identified for a long time is that is actually just basically a distraction from what, that is a distraction from what they don't want us to see.
Yeah.
That is really actually happening. The message I got from the moving of Mr. Shivambu from the EFF to the MK, the message I got was that there is something bigger coming. What I got is that what they stand for is going to, they are going to fight for what they believe.
Yeah.
That is the message I got there, because we have to acknowledge that Mr. Shivambu is he's quite a big political figure in this country.
Yeah.
And for him to make that move from being a founding member of the EFF to make a move as significant as that, that sends a big message to those who, that sends a big message to those who want us to stay ignorant. Because there are forces that don't want us in this country to know the truth. There are forces that want to keep us like zombies. And for many out there, it would be strange. I'm sure it's strange for me as a colored, sounding or coming across as pro EFF, pro MK. It might sound like I'm coming across as pro these pro EFF, pro MK, but at the end of the day, I know why. I know what these people stand for. I know why what these parties stand for. I know what the NCC stands for, and I know why they joined these progressive parties. I know why they support these progressive parties, because they know the truth. And for Floyd to make that move, it's just another, for me, it's just evidence that this revolution, it can be realized. It can be realized. But it's not gonna come without chaos. We can't be ignorant or naive to that fact. It's gonna come with chaos. There is no doubt about that, because forces out there are actively working to stop this. It's local forces and it's forces abroad that is working actively to stop this, to make us see as South Africans, to make us see the truth. Yeah.
Well, as you can see, guys, once more, I just want to reiterate that this is just our observation and sharing our opinion. And what I would like to see, or would like not to see, rather, I should say, is that we see now that the situation is starting to unravel, partly because it's a highly emotional situation. The situation is volatile. As you heard Mr. Malema's statement, the experience he had in that moment, receiving the news, obviously through this letter Mr. Shivambu wrote to him, whereby he expressed that he will no longer be renewing his membership to the EFF, and lay down the reasons why he made that decision. And the subsequent response to that conference news release, where they made the announcement of the resignation of Mr. Shivambu from the EFF, the follow-up press conference, we saw that the response Mr. Malema made was a bit more personal this time. Yes, to an extent it was personal in the initial press release, but it was a bit more aggressive, I would say, personally, whereby in the letter Mr. Shivambu requested, let's not make any derogatory statements to each other as a result of this decision, because this is purely a progressive decision.
Yes.
It's not with any ill intentions. It's mainly to progress the revolution. You understand? So hence, this is why I'm saying I would like not to see this thing unravel any further, because Mr. Malema is already making a more aggressive personal statements. Yes, he has to now follow up on his commitments that he made in the past, whereby if I'm gonna try and get that clip and play it for you guys, whereby the EFF was celebrating its 10-year anniversary. It's about 15 years now, 15, 13 years old now, but it had its 10-year anniversary, and Mr. Malema made a statement to say at that event that in the event something like this happens, that person, okay, I think he mentioned Mr. Shivambu's name there as well. I speak under correction, but I think he was also referring to any EFF member in generally. Should you would want to leave the organization, just do so, but do not go do so and campaign against me, right? And when you do so, do not do so behind my back. You know, be courageous and do it. Do me the courtesy and come and tell me you're gonna do it. And I do not want to find out you have been doing it for a time period behind my back, and now you finally go and make your announcement to say that you are now going to move over to a different political organization. And we don't know whether Mr. Shivambu has communicated with leaders of the MK before he made this decision. Obviously, to a certain extent, and in that clip that we just watched now, he already said that all the progressive political parties that were at the conference last year, and the EFF was also an attendee at that conference.
Yes.
All these progressive parties decided that they are going to unite as one force, right? That was the discussion, and they were discussing how they were going to go about that. And Mr. Shivambu now is saying that he is just continuing with what has been discussed. You understand? So obviously he had communication with members of the leadership of MK before he made this decision, and it was not behind closed doors in my observation. I don't know. You understand? I'm just sharing what I'm observing. You understand? So now we find some in the mainstream media trying to paint that picture that there was already poor relationship between Mr. Shivambu and Mr. Malema, and this is the result why they are now making the split. So what is your take on that, so that we can just have a broader perspective, you know, so that we can also have an informed opinion?
I think the perceived beef between Malema and Floyd, I think that could in itself also be a message or a type of distraction. That is a possibility. That is a possibility. I think what Mr. Shivambu said, I think what he said at this latest press conference, he merely said he put it bluntly. He's not here to please other people and their egos. That is what he said, which suggests that is a mature approach to this whole.
I would agree with that.
It's a mature approach to this whole situation. It's like, okay, you can throw your toys, but I'm the one who knows what I'm doing and why I'm doing it. So that is another angle to look at it. And another thing I took away from that conference, from that press conference, is there was discussions of there was the mentioning of these little parties. I mean, who in their right mind ever thought or believed that, like Mr. Shivambu said, all these little parties, what are they going to achieve? I mean, if you think realistically about the past elections, the recent elections, if you think realistically about it, I mean, there are so many parties who contested those elections. But if you think about it, what were they hoping to achieve? because there are some of them that are not even part of this progressive. There are many of them that are not part of this progressive movement. So what are they hoping to achieve? Was that to scatter the support, splinter the support? What was the motive?
Dilute.
Yeah, because what were they actually trying to achieve? Because the progressive caucus makes a whole lot of sense, whereas these other little parties that came along now recently, where are they going? What are they gonna do?
For me, these lot of a multitude of small pocket of parties, and yes, people are gonna now say that the NCC also fall in that category
No.
of also being a small party. Our argument to that is, yeah, NCC is in parliament. Although we have 2 seats, we in parliament. There are those that are not even in parliament, and these are the ones that we are referring to. So all of those falling in that category I'm referring to now is, I equate them to, and again, my opinion, I'm not going to apologize if anyone feels offended. You don't need to take what I'm saying as truth. I equate these small pockets of parties as a function, not the party in its mission or in its mandate, in its function in society. I equate them as the church of today. There to capture our people, to make them inactive, to make them come follow a certain routine and not in a routine of expressing themselves verbally, but not in taking physical action. So these are the type of parties that would talk a good game, but when it comes to playing the game, they are not coming to the ground, to serve the people. So that's what we find, and it's not the smaller parties only that's doing that. The bigger parties as well, and I'm referring to those like the DA, the Freedom Front, and yes, they are resourced, you understand, but they do not have active members that are physically serving the people on the ground, and that's where the NCC, I would say, can be looked at as a role model. You understand, whereby NCC doesn't just have members to get strength in a vote. It has its members more actively on the ground. So when we talk about progressive parties, this is what we mean to say. It is people that will take action to further progress the development of their communities, and these are the type of parties that would fall under parties that are considered progressive parties, and hence the NCC fits nicely into the progressive caucus. People would ask, if the NCC is a party for the coloureds, why is the NCC not doing what the PA is doing by joining the GNU, so that they can also get a ministerial position, so that they can further the
Policies.
interest of the colored child. But when we look at what the PA stands for, they are totally not fulfilling the definition of what you would consider a progressive party. And there is what we see the difference comes in, because what the colored child needs today is a progressive representative, because it's the anti-progressive force, being white monopoly capital, that is the cause of the problems for the colored child. You understand? And the black child in general. So this is where you would see now that it really is a good fit for the NCC to join this progressive caucus. And in my opinion, I would say the president of the NCC, Mr. Fadil Adams, he made the right choice for the NCC to join the progressive caucus, because now we as the colored people has a representative that will further our interest, because we do have an interest that requires a progressive force, because this moderate central force is going to perpetuate this ever division between the haves and the have-nots, the rich and the poor, which is totally destroying the middle class.
Just to come in there, just to come back to what I said earlier about the small parties, just in the defense of the NCC. The NCC is the movement of the NCC is not one that started last year prior to the elections. The NCC is not a party that came along now, dag, like they say.
Yeah. In caps.
Yeah, in caps. It's not a party that just popped up all of a sudden. And in the defense of the NCC, like Mr. Shivambu said, he is unapologetic about empowering the black child.
Yeah.
And like the NCC and like President Fadil Adams has said, he's also unapologetic about furthering and empowering the colored child. That in itself complements each other.
Yeah.
The two parties, the belief, it complements each other. So, and like Marshall has said, I agree. Mr. Fadil Adams has made the correct choice, because the objective is to uplift and to better the lives of the minority and the majority. It's to better the lives of the colored child and the black child, who share a history of suffering in this country.
A history of oppression, a history of but with this move that happened now, Mr. Shivambu moving from the EFF, which is a force to be reckoned with, a force who most certainly is a progressive force, undeniably. Moving over to another progressive force as the MK, right? So I just want to leave a thought with our colored community, especially those in the, as you referenced what the statement was that Mr. Shivambu made regarding these smaller parties. What difference are they really going to make? You understand? Hence, it makes sense, since your ideologies are aligned, your policies are aligned, you are basically representing the same thing. The only difference now is under which title or banner are you representing this. You understand? Hence, it only makes sense, let's unite under one roof. You know, that will better multiply our effectiveness in strength, in force, in capacity.
Going forward.
You understand? Yeah. To be adequate opposition force to the anti-progressive force known as white monopoly capital. You understand? So that our interest as people of color, the indigenous people of this land, so that our interests are no longer oppressed, regressed, and not put as a priority to this government of the day in this land. So if it so happens that our president of the NCC would happen to find himself in a situation whereby the opportunity is there for the NCC to amalgamate and join with the MK to put the resources of the NCC behind the MK. I would be 100% behind Mr. Adams should he find himself in a situation having to make a decision like that. Reason for that is because, like I said, and like the president himself said, that we as colored people cannot think that we are going to achieve all our aspirations working in a silo. If we look at the demographics of our country, we constitute about 6% in this country, right? And in this country, you need 60% to be able to be the government of the day, to make decisions in this country, right? And if we are going to work alone in a silo, we will most definitely never be able to achieve all our ambitions, right? That is just us being realistic. And the statement I'm making, especially for our viewers that are part of the colored community, that are now looking down upon the NCC for joining the Progressive Caucus and thinking it's the wrong move, right? The statement the president made that he decided to join the Progressive Caucus to be in a better position to pursue the interest of the colored child, right? Because together with the NCC's resources and the resources and capacity of members of the EFF, members of the MK, members of the UAT, members of the ATM, all of those parties which form the Progressive Caucus, with all their resources and capacity combined, they are a formidable force for this GNU, which the PA is participating in, you know, which is going to further oppress and suppress and regress the interests of the minority, the people of color, the indigenous people of this country. You understand? And further perpetuate and expedite this ever bigger widening of the gap between the poor and the rich. I should actually say wealthy, because there's even a big gap between being rich and being wealthy. You understand? Because the rich in itself is dying out, which is now your middle class, and there are only going to be poor people and wealthy people. And this is what we want to bring your attention to as Wake Us Up in the Hood. We are wanting to wake you up to tell you that what this mainstream media is trying to propagate with this, trying to put our focus now on the fact that there is beef between Mr. Malema and Mr. Shivambu. That is not the main focus or where our attention should be here. But that is the objective of your mainstream media. You understand? We just want to bring your focus back and to tell you that the attention should be on putting all progressive forces together so that we can operate in unity as one. Because there is power in the power of one. You know, I heard that statement from a great leader from the Western Cape Aboriginal Governance Council, Mr. Malcolm Van Roy, Elder Mike. You know, he loves to make that statement. There is power in the power of one, where he speaks to all our indigenous people, our Aboriginal people, our Khoi and San people, in all of them in our different respective movements. And what he is trying to say there as well, if all our people come together, you know, in our variations, in our different clans, in our different krale, when we come together and stop this tribalism mentality, you know, then we can achieve our aspirations to regain the land that was taken from us by the white monopoly capital. You understand? Only then can we regain our position in this land as the original people, the indigenous people of this land. So, hence, the statement I want to make is to say that when Mr. Fadil Adams finds himself in a position whereby he needs to decide, will the NCC or him personally as a member, individually on his own, if he must make a decision to say that let's join the MK as a party, I will be behind him, because what we need to do is to unite our forces. And it's the same, like I said, this mentality of small parties, I equate the function again, not the party in itself, the function they play, the role they play or fulfill, is to distract and dilute the power we have as the people. Because there is power, there's more power in the people as there is the power in the people in power. If you understand that in
that sense,
what that statement means to say. And again, if Mr. Fadil finds himself there, let's now already start to have that discussion. Share your comments in the comment section. How do you feel about that idea? When the NCC confront himself, having to make a decision. Should we join the MK beyond just the Progressive Caucus? Now having to join the NK as a party and be a member of that party in itself, because the MK's constitution, and this is very important, the MK's constitution does not specifically speak to whether you as a member can have dual partnership or membership, being a member of, let's say, the NCC and a member of the MK. The constitution of the MK speaks or emphasis only on the character of what the member of a MK party should be like, you understand? And that is purely a person that is seeking to further the interest of the minority, a progressive person. You must fulfill that criteria, then you qualify to become a member of the MK. It doesn't necessarily say that you must resign from the party you already are a member in, you understand? Now again, it depends on your party's constitution. Now for us who are NCC members, if we want to now join the MK, we must look at what our constitution say. Does it allow us to have dual membership, be a member of the NCC and be a member of the, let's say, the MK? So let's get into this. I think it's quite a interesting topic, because that is something that that is something that very controversial. And I think we must focus on the next episode specifically on this topic, because this is a statement made in an interview of the Secretary General of the MK when he was asked, does your party constitution not exclude members of the NK be a member of another party? Precisely because some members in the EFF are members of the MK party, and we don't know if the EFF constitution allows that. You understand? Hence, those members that are now in the MK that were prior in the EFF has rather not resigned per se, but has not renewed the annual membership. So they did not formally resign, they just did not renew their membership. You understand? But we do not know, does the EFF constitution allow for dual membership? So I think we can bring this episode to a conclusion, unless you have anything more to share there, because the main purpose was to bring our people's focus and attention away from Julius Malema versus Floyd Shivambu. That is not where our focus and attention should be.
It's not about that.
It's not about that. That is what mainstream media is wanting you to focus on. What you need to focus on is the combination, the combining, the cooperation, the unification of all progressive forces, so that it can be an adequate opposition force to the anti-progressive force known as white monopoly capital that is controlling our reality, that is dictating where our focus and attention should be. Like we are saying now, don't focus on Julius Malema versus Floyd Shivambu. Let's focus on uniting all progressive forces. That is where our attention should be, right? So, as you know, please, if you like this episode, hit that like button. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed yet, because we see about 80% of our recurring viewers our regular viewers, about 80% of you are not subscribed. So if you are viewing us so regularly, you might as well subscribe. Share far and wide on all your platforms. We will always also put this on Facebook as well, on our Facebook page. We will try to go into all the other platforms like X, formerly known as Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and all the. But we don't have the capacity to manage all of that as yet. So, like, share, subscribe, and thank you for watching. If you've made it till the end, and let us know if you enjoyed this episode. Was this topic something you want to hear more about? We actually plan to do this discussion as on our other program, as you already saw, pool table talk. But unfortunately, our balls are stuck in the board, so we can't shoot a game of pool. Hence, we now having this as a more formal discussion. But you will see more of pool table talk in the near future. And if you want to be a guest on our show, featuring on pool table talk, wanting to speak a discussion, let us know, and we will respond. Just have patience with us, because our team is not having the capacity to fulfill all the functions required yet for this channel, for this platform we've created. But we're making progress, and with your input as well, guiding us, letting us know. And I just want to let you know here now already, you are not going to stop me from expressing my spiritual beliefs. I am going to put on the thumbnail or somewhere in the description that be aware, in this particular episode, I'm sharing my spiritual beliefs and where I am currently in my spiritual journey. So if this is a very sensitive topic for you, if you are a religious person, my advice is rather not watch the episode. But don't tell me not to discuss religious topics, because the response I got from that video, Mind Control, was merely to share with you how they are trying effectively to control us, so that we can remain where we are, stay where we are, in our suffering, for their progression. You heard what that professor said. Africa needs to stay where it is. It should not become more than a producer of raw materials. And I was just trying to show you that religion is also a form of control, and that is where and how they are using all these mechanisms to control us, like mainstream media is trying to do now, trying to persuade and direct our focus on Floyd Shivambu versus Julius MALEMA, rather than to focus on all progressive forces need to unite. Right? These are all the control mechanisms they use. So I am going to share my spiritual beliefs and where I find myself on my spiritual journey, because I believe that is a responsibility I have based on my experience. Like people like to share, they had an experience with Jesus Christ. Myself, I too had an experience with Jesus Christ, and why can't I share my experience? If my perspective and experience differs from yours, why must I not be allowed to share mine just because it's different, right? And these are the small little things they want to use just because our experience differs, just because the EFF colors are now red and the MK colors are now green. That is a difference. That is just a color difference. They still have the same policies. We as humanity we with souls are here for the same purpose. All of us have souls. Just because we have a different experience on this earth, now we are having different religions, dividing us. And this is used to keep us from progressing. You understand? Being used to oppress us. And using us to fight against each other, to be the gods of our own prison for each other. Whilst white monopoly capital is experiencing heaven on earth, and we experience hell as the minority, the oppressed. You understand? So I am going to share my spiritual belief, because wake us up. You need to wake up. You understand? And don't take anything as truth what I share, because I'm only sharing my experience. Truth for you should be your experience. And let's engage on this topic. Let's not, like they said, some comments said that let's not have religious discussions on this channel. Let's rather stay to politics. I don't agree with that statement. How are we going to wake up if we are not willing to engage with those, if we are not willing to confront those topics that are so sensitive for us? You understand? Because we need to understand, why are they so sensitive for us? Unless we are going to engage on it, we are never going to discover why they are so sensitive for us. So we must engage. We must. You understand? Because in church, they don't want to engage on that topic, because there's no question and answer session. Hence, I'm equating these small political parties function as the church of today's function in society. The function they perform in our society is to distract our people's attention and prevent them from taking action in this reality, to pursue and take action to realize their interests, their desires, the promise God made to us. You understand? To have dominion as He intended in this kingdom. Right? So, my belief again, our purpose is to experience on earth as it is in heaven. And that is the mission Jesus was on. And that is the mission I am on. Like He carried His cross, and He said specifically, if you want to follow me, you must pick up your cross to follow me. And I'm just picking up my cross. I'm not going to help Him with His cross like many people are doing. They are praising and worshiping and carrying and progressing Jesus' cross when He already carried His cross, and neglecting their own crosses. When are you going to carry your own cross forward like He instructed you to do? You are supposed to carry your own cross if you want to follow Jesus. And that is just my perspective based on my experience when I engage with Scripture. Right? So let us engage on these sensitive topics so that we can understand them, so that we can make informed decisions. Wake us up in the hood. What more do you want? You understand? Our intent is to wake us up so that we can understand why we're having this experience and how we can take control and have this dominion our Creator promised. And His promise is truth. It's unchangeable. So, again, religion is going to want you to confuse you. Again, I spoke about this based on computer science reference point, whereby we understand how computers work, and the CIA discovered that our human brain functions similarly to how a computer CPU functions, right? They can control what functions this computer is going to perform. So they similarly can control to an extent what functions we as humans are going to perform by programming us with subliminal messaging through sound, through images, through visuals like pictures and video, you know, through like your mainstream media. On radio back in the day, they controlled our psyche, our focus and attention, like they are doing now with this situation, Julius Malema versus Floyd Shivambu. But you know, you are awake. Our focus should be uniting the progressive forces, right? Essentially, that is all I would like to highlight. We need to engage on these topics. Let's not shy away from them. If you do not want to engage in them, like I said, skip the video, but do not make a statement to say, let's not have this discussion. And I think, and I speak under correction, I think Mr. Malema, in a sense, made a statement like that when he mentioned that upon receiving the letter of Mr. Shivambu's resignation, that he and Mr. Shivambu had a meeting, and he asked him, tell me, what did I do to you to make you make this decision? Because it cannot be nothing, you understand? He said, let's have this discussion, you understand, so that he can understand why he's making this decision. Hence I'm saying, let's have this discussion. If it's religion, if it's politics, whatever the topic is, let's have this discussion, you know. And Mr. Shivambu again made a similar statement, just phrased this statement differently, you know. Why should we not progress or how can I say now, put forth the progressive agenda, you know? We need to have the discussion about smaller parties coming together, putting their forces in unity behind one organization, you know? Let's have this discussion. Why should we not have this discussion? You understand? We need to have these discussions, guys. So, again, the thing is, when we get into these type of topics, we don't want to conclude these episodes, you know, because this is very near and dear to us, because we are those people that are progressive, you know, wanting to put our resources behind the movement that is going to liberate us as the oppressed in this country, so that we can take our rightful place back as the owners, the original owners, the indigenous people of this land, right? So again, any closing remarks from you, and then we can conclude.
Conclude.
So guys, like, share, subscribe. See you in the next one. Wake us up.